Thank you. I would like to officially call the HUD's committee meeting on January 23rd to order at 11:08. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Alderman Cone,
Present.
Alderwoman Schweitzer,
Present.
Vice Chair Sonier,
Present.
Alderman Browning,
Present.
Alderman Aldridge,
Present.
Chair Clerk Hubbard. We have 5 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And with that, I'm happy to accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes, January 21st,
I move to approve the minutes of Thursday, January 23rd, 2025.
Second.
The motion has been made.
I should be coming on in about 2 minutes.
Clerk Phillips, you're not on mute.
Thank you. And the motion has been made by Alderman Browning, and Alderwoman Schweitzer, and a second by Alderman Aldridge. And are there any objections? All in favor?
Aye.
I have called a roll.
Okay. Madam Clerk, may you please call the roll?
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Sonier,
Aye.
Alderman Browning,
Aye.
Alderman Aldridge,
Aye.
Chair Clerk Hubbard. We have 5 aye votes.
Thank you. And with that, we will get to board bills for review. Item number 1, which is billboard number 81.
88.
88. 88. Alderwoman Boyd, you are recognized to speak to Board Bill 88.
Thank you, HUD's committee, for hearing this bill. It has been a long time coming. We have been working on this for 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4. We've been working on a long time. So if the clerk could please read the introduction for me.
Board Bill 88, introduced by Alderwoman Pamela Boyd, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated May 28, 2024 for the 1100 Veronica Avenue area in the city of St. Louis, after finding that the area is blighted as defined in Section 99.320 of the Revised Statutes of Missouri, 2016 as amended. Finding that there shall be available 15-year tax abatement, 10 years based on 90% of the assessed value of the incremental improvements, and followed by 5 years based on 50% of the assessed value of the incremental improvements, and pledging cooperation of the Board of Aldermen.
Thank you. At this time, I'll ask my speakers to come up, and they have signed in. So.
Thank you so much. I'm Chris Sherman with Lutheran Development Group. Sorry, I don't have my full voice. I've been wrestling with that.
Excuse me.
I'm going to start by getting you sworn in. If you just
Oh,
want to lift
that's
your hand
great.
up, that's okay.
Thank you.
And do you promise that what you're about to say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now you may introduce yourself
All
and
right.
proceed.
Excuse me, can you hold the mic so we can
Let's do
hear
that.
you better?
All right. I am Chris Sherman with Lutheran Development Group, and we're talking about Baden School Apartments, the Baden Elementary School in the Baden neighborhood. And we also have folks from SLDC if there are specific questions on the tax abatement itself. So when originally brought forward, we have been, it was suggested by SLDC that we would qualify for, it would be, I believe, full abatement for longer than 15 years, but what we were asking for was 90% for 10 years and 50% for 5 years. We've since had further conversations on that and discussions with St. Louis Public Schools, and we are available for 75% for the first 10 years and then 50% for the following 5 years. My understanding is that any change like that can be handled as it moves forward with the Board of Aldermen. But the bill, as stated right now, is for 10 years at 90% and 5 years for 50%. This is a combination historic tax credit and low-income housing tax credit project with additional funding from CDA. And it has a total of 50 units. At one point, it was initially 50 units, moved to 51 units, but then we had to pull it back to 50 units to maintain an office on the first floor for property management, as well as other restrictions from historic tax credits. There's a total of a $22.3 million investment in the Baden neighborhood. And our hope has been that once we get moved through with tax abatement, which is one of our last significant hurdles, that then we can really push forward with the federal and state investors, get this project closed. We are currently scheduling environmental abatement for the building because we did buy the building from St. Louis Public Schools at this point about 8 months ago, but we are scheduling environmental abatement for April, hoping that we can start construction soon thereafter. I will say that there's some open questions right now as far as the effect of any recent executive orders on funding like ARPA funding that we have. We're looking for clarification on that. But regardless, we're looking to start the abatement process in April, and we're committed to pushing this project forward. I can answer other questions. It is a mix of different income restrictions. We have 8 units that are set at 30% AMI, which is the poverty line, 37 units set at 60% AMI, and 5 that are set at market rate. But I can keep talking about all kinds of numbers for you guys, and that might be boring, so I'll just pause and see what questions you guys have for us.
Thank you. And will you be the only one speaking, or will your colleague be speaking as well?
Oh, no, Tom's here for emotional support.
Okay, all right. Then we can proceed to go through the committee. I think we may have a question for Mr. Wilson. There's a member of the committee who's trying to locate the packet for today. I don't know if there's an option that maybe you can re-up that to, or so that they can find it more quickly in their inboxes. It's not maybe more of a request. I think they're just looking for the packet and can't find
I'm
it.
sorry. It should be attached to the board bill, but usually it's tied to the very end. But I have copies if anybody needs it.
I think he's gonna bring it. Thank you. Okay.
Zach Wilson with the this project was presented to HUDs in October 22nd. So you may kind of remember parts of this. It's a project we fully support because it puts a building back on the tax rolls. It's a vacant school currently, and we provide quality housing for low-income families. The issue is we supported 10 years at 90, followed by 5 at 50. The school board requested a reduction in that tax abatement. So that's why there's been a time period where why we're coming back before you. So we were at 10 at 75, followed by 5 at 50%. We requested amendments from the clerk. I think they're working on it currently. So we can happy to go over the scorecards while we wait for that.
If that's how you'd like to proceed, that's fine.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Hello, Andrew Knopp, SLDC. So we no longer have the scorecard twins, it's just me. So I'll go over both of our analyses. So first, as community benefits scorecard, we get a total of 69 points. I don't think that's too shocking. The unit mix was described, some 30%, some 60%, some technically market rate, but in this market, all units are really affordable under 50% AMI. So 40 points for deep affordability. The location is Economic Justice Index Area 3, so just 10 points for that. It's a vacant school building that's being renovated, so 5 points for vacant building renovation. Historic building built in 1907, the historic Baden School, 5 points. A little over a $22 million investment So 4 points for that. It is near a bus stop, 3 points, and various other sources of public funding, the federal historic tax credits and some MHDC/CDA home funds, maybe some others. So 2 points for that. 69 points overall. Obviously a good project, a lot of benefit to the community that we support. So I can answer questions about the community benefit scorecard. I can talk a little bit about the financial analysis if you'd like.
Thank you. At this time, I think we can get into committee questions, see if they have any further questions for you.
Okay.
Alderman Cone, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I don't have any questions at this time. I'm pretty familiar with the project. I've been briefed by LDG about the project, and I believe I've spoken with Alderwoman Boyd about it in the past as well. I'll speak to LDG, Lutheran Development Group, because they do a lot of work in the 3rd and 6th wards, and they've been wonderful partners in the community, and are currently working on some other projects down in our neck of the woods at the moment. So they're good partners in terms of creating affordable housing. They manage their properties very well, and look forward to supporting this bill. I think it'll be a great project for Alderwoman Boyd and her neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this project and the presentation. I know this has been several years coming, and it's great to see it, get it to this point and be in front of us today. I have some questions on the amendments, but I know those aren't in front of us right now, because it looks like they're being amended to get less in some ways, and then I'm kind of wanting to learn more about how Amendment 3 fits in, and I guess we'll get to that soon. So thank you for presenting today.
Thank you, Alderman Browning.
Thank you. This project makes a lot of sense. Thought it made sense the last time it was before our committee, and certainly makes sense now. Taking a vacant school building and turning it into housing is wonderful. That's historic preservation. It's addition of affordable housing. It's taking a school building off the after the school district's books. So this is something I want to see more of in our city. So happy to support this and excited about this project.
Thank you. Alderman Aldridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm a little upset today not to see your twin. So that's the disappointment that I have, but it's not going to change the way that I vote on this. Excited to also see this development, excited to see, using incentives like this that we use a lot at the board, but in North St. Louis, where we sometimes don't get to be able to do a lot of these, and just looking at the impact that it's going to have, like Alderman Brown said, turning a vacant school into affordable housing, I think a good way and a good step that the board can say, how we use incentive today, and just looking at the projected revenue for what it's going to do to get this kind of off the roads of being vacant, not only to the city but to the schools, I think is a good step forward. So I commend the Alderwoman for working 3, 4, 5, maybe even longer to get this done, but really good project. Thank you all.
I have the same sentiments of my colleagues. I just would really congratulate Alderwoman Boyd. I think a lot of alders are trying to figure out. I know a lot of us have kind of large vacant structures, and in a lot of cases they are some of the school buildings, and I know a lot of those conversations have been ongoing, so I hope this creates a good model of how we can begin to reuse our school buildings, even if that means repurposing them, and can't think of many uses that would be better than housing. And I'm really a fan of the fact that it's going to be 11 units that are 3 bedrooms. I'm really excited that it's going to include some family affordable housing, because we know that that is where the real shortage is there. So just completely take my kudos off to you all. With that, Alderwoman Boyd, did you want to come up and make a motion to bring these amendments before the committee?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for hearing this bill. And I agree because Baton has been a lost community that has not had housing for quite a while. So I'm excited about this, and I ask for your favorable consideration for Board Bill 88.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt amendment number 1 to Board Bill 88.
Second?
Any discussion?
Previous row.
And with that, the
Again.
motion has passed.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt amendment number 2 to Board Bill 88 as amended.
Second?
Second? Previous roll?
Any discussion? Any objection? Okay, motion has passed, amendment has passed.
I'd like to make a motion that we adopt amendment 3 to Board Bill 88 as amended.
Discussion.
Second?
Okay, and we have some discussion. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
So this is for, on the third, amendment number 3, page 9, line 11. Is this changing the, after the first iteration of the 75% tax abatement, there would be a further number of years? And if so, does that also need to be? I want to understand what's going on here.
I don't have the sheet in front of me. Can you repeat that?
Looking, amendment number 3 is the page 9, line 11. So I'm looking at page 9, line 11. The base tax value, 10% of the difference between the ad valorem real estate taxes that we do if there were no tax abatement.
Yeah, that should change to 25%.
Is there anywhere else that needs to change?
No, it's section 4, I think that's section 14. Section 14, the board bill should be the only place.
Okay, because
Where
amendment 1
tax
and
abatement,
2 were
yeah.
just on the first 10 years.
Yes,
So then the following 5 years is staying at 50%.
correct. Yes.
And then there's a different change somewhere else about, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain how that 10 to 25% change will impact the bill, just so I better understand?
Well, it'll immediately increase the amount the school district will receive. That's why it's dropping from, instead of getting 10%, they'll see a 25% increase from the improvements. So that's why they requested it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, and so we had a motion by Alderman Aldridge and a second by Alderman Cone to adopt amendment number 3.
Previous row.
Any objections? Motion passes. Okay, and with that, Alderwoman Boyd, you're welcome to close.
Okay, one more time, huh? So I ask the committee's favorable support for Board Bill 88 with necessary amendment.
I would like to make a motion that we pass Board Bill 88 as amended with a due pass recommendation.
Second?
Previous row.
Any objections? Motion passes. Congratulations, Alderwoman Boyd.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes?
Just a note that you should be letting the clerk know who's making the motions.
I did. I said that we had a motion by Alderman Aldridge and a second by Alderman Cone in the beginning.
But you need to do it after each motion. If you did, I didn't hear it on the. on the
Madam
call.
Clerk, Alderman Aldridge made the motion and then there was a second by Alderman Cone.
So noted.
Okay. And Alderwoman Tyus, I do see you online with us. You are recognized to
Me.
speak to.
We had a public comment on this bill
Oh, okay.
from Dalen.
I'm
Dalen
sorry.
Brown.
My apologies. And do you promise that what you're about to say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please, your name, your board in 3 minutes.
Can you turn on your mic?
Hi there, my name is Dalen Brown. I'm still living within the homeless population in and out of the city of St. Louis. And on the demographics of Board Bill 88, I was inquiring on whether or not if the St. Louis Public Housing List will have this amended to the list of properties that therein is allowing people that are on the wait list for public housing to therein be allotted to have this property on the list for eligible places for individuals that are on that wait list. I do understand that sometimes these individuals that they're in remodel these properties, therein are looking for an understood demographic that therein is going to continue to have individuals there that therein have the eligibility to take care of that property after they take ownership and remodeling it, and therein have the understood demographic that therein these funds from the requested amount to the particular owner in the aspects of their rental agreement to continually come back to them. I do believe that if St. Louis Public Housing wanted to therein go on that list, these particular units should be eligible for programs that therein subsidize that and pay for it with city funds, therefore ensuring that these owners now have from the city an agreement for individuals that qualify for this housing to therein get those funds allotted to them from the city, and to therein have case management services therein allotted for each individual client or family that therein is now in those 3-bedroom to 1-bedrooms, possibly studios, that therein this individual is allowing to come in here with the agreements from St. Louis City and their homeless population or low-income population, and therein have not only the funds allotted, but somebody in case management services allowing them to understand and be eligible to walk through and ensure that that property is
Mr. Brown,
taken
that's your
care of.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I think as far as your questions, I think you're totally welcome to send an email, and I bet we can get you a response on that. We don't do back and forth, but I would encourage you to email, and we can certainly provide clarity on how that would work.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, and Alderwoman Tyus, you are recognized to speak to Board Bill 138.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Vice Chair, members of the committee. Board Bill 138 is, I wanted to present before you, is a bill that would sell a piece of property the city has owned for, I don't know, 40, 50 years or more, and a family has taken care of for 32 years for $1. It is in a part of the city that has seen little investment, and I want to commend this family, Ms. Carol Wade, and before that, her parents, who took care of this property and always has it kept really well, looking good. And she now is making an offer to buy it so she can consolidate the pieces of land, which are very small, so that she could fence it in and better protect her house, which is a few, 2 lots away, I think it is. And I stand before you and ask for your favorable consideration of Board Bill 138.
Thank you. And with that, we will take, do you have any guest speakers, Alderwoman Tyus?
I did not, because this was I'm out of town, actually. That's why I'm on Zoom. I'm at an energy conference. I thought this was kind of straightforward. I do have a couple corrections on the quitclaim deed, if you wanted me to bring those up now.
As amendments?
They're really like friendly amendments. Like I did this in November of 2024. So it says on the first line, it says 2024. Of course, it's now 2025. That needs to be corrected. I have Mrs. Wade's full address and zip code. So they're really small. You don't have to have them written unless you just want them.
I think as long as you have clarification that the clerk will take them as like scribbler's errors, that's fine.
Right.
Okay.
But those are my amendments. If you look at quitclaim deed, first line, 2024 needs to be changed to 2025. Mrs. Carol Wade's address is 4616 St. Louis Avenue, and her zip code is 63115.
Okay. We will begin to go through the committee for questions. Alderman Cone.
Thank you. That was going to be one of my questions, Alderwoman, because I was looking up 4606 St. Louis Avenue and it's not pulling up as a property parcel in the city of St. Louis. So are you saying that it's 4616 St. Louis Avenue instead of 46?
No, no, I'm not. Her address is 4616. You're saying that it doesn't show up? Let me see here, because that is the address. You don't see 4606 St. Louis Avenue. Sometimes it's hard to pull up because they're combinations. So if you want me to go online and see if I can find a better address, that's the address that was given to me. That's the address from the comptroller's office.
Okay. I guess, well, yeah, it would be nice to have that confirmed.
Okay, no problem. I'll look it up now. Hold on just a minute.
To your point, maybe there's, issues with the system that happens from time to time. My other question, we typically don't do board bills for sale of property unless it's owned, and that's part of the reason I was looking it up, is to see if this is an LRA property or if this is owned by, the Municipal Finance Corporation, or, which city entity owns this property. Because typically, as you know, if it's a LRA property, we wouldn't have a board bill for a sale of the land.
It is not owned by LRA. I'm sorry, I'm looking it up, so that's why you don't see me. It is owned by the city, which the comptroller, as you know, is the one that takes care of that when it's owned by the city. So it's not an LRA property. I would not be dealing with it at all.
Yeah. Do you know how it ended up being owned by the city versus LRA?
Because it was bought, the city has owned it like about 75, 80, 90 years. It's way back. It's an old piece of land that the city has owned for a real long time. As you can see, this lady who's younger than myself and you has owned it for 32 years, has taken care of it for 32 years. Her family took care of it before that. So it's just an old throwback piece of property. And it's a little sliver, and she owns everything around it.
Well,
and I could not.
She can't be younger than me if she's been taking years.
But since she was a little girl, okay, she's your age. How about that? you don't want to take umbrage at that. Okay, since she was a little girl, when her family was taking care of it, she was taking care of it. She's in her family home now. And I just went to go online for the see if there was a different address, but of course it's down. But that is I looked it up before, and I'm pretty sure that is the correct address. And if it's a problem, when it comes out on the floor, I will correct it on the floor if it's a problem. But I'm pretty sure it's 4606, because we went and looked at all the different little pieces that connect.
Okay, so and I'm just I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I've looked at it. The like Mo to Own program, where we sell folks property for $1. I thought that was specific to LRA properties, and I feel like there's a law that says that we have to sell property for its fair market value if it's not part of that program. So I was just do you know what the fair market value of the property is, or does this property fall underneath? Because I thought that Mo to Own program was specific just for LRA. So.
Okay, so first of all, they don't have Mo to Own anymore. They got rid of that.
Right. I guess where I'm trying to get is, where's the dollar amount coming from?
Because there has no value, because we've not done anything for it for a long time, because this person has been maintaining it for 30 years and the family before that. And so we're taking it off the books. If we just sold it for minimal amount, because there's no reason to try to get any money, we're not doing anything for it. And I think we need to get rid of a lot more property like this that we have, that people have been maintaining. I think a mistake has been done with LRA, because people who've been maintaining these lots, they now told them they can't have the lots anymore, which I think is wrong. If you've maintained a lot for 20 or 30 or 40 years, the city didn't have to cut the grass, you didn't have to do anything. This actually has to go before both the comptroller and the city councilor. So if there is a problem with it, that is something that should have been brought out before this, okay? Because this was written up. And I will ask her for an opinion if that's what you need.
Yeah, it would have. I'm trying to pull up the property information database again, and it said that it was unavailable. So I don't know
exactly.
But now now it's pulling up for me again.
Okay, I'll
And
try again also.
it's saying 4616 St. Louis, 4616 and 4606 St. Louis Avenue. Neither of those addresses are pulling up in the database.
And so that is because sometimes when you look up St. Louis Avenue, you can't pull it up. You have to back into it. Like you have to go on to like map it and then back over to it because it's really hard to pull up St. Louis Avenue. So what I do is go to an address on Maffitt, which is the next street over, and then it abuts up to that, and then you can go over, and it is, but they don't have it written correctly. I've talked to them several times about that. It's hard to bring up St. Louis Avenue, whatever. And I know that she lives there because I've been to her house, so I know she's 4616. Okay, you just, if you want me to, I can try to back it up and back up through going on an address on Maffitt, which abuts to it, and then come back to it if that's what you want.
I'm looking at 4611 Maffitt now, which is right around the corner.
It's right, it should be right behind it. You can find an 11 or a 13 and then just go over on the map and find it.
Yeah, I tried St. Louis and the abbreviated style, and I tried it spelled all the way out, and it wasn't pulling up either way.
Well, now I'm seeing that it is pulled up. So it is 4606 St. Louis Avenue. You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that would be great.
You want me to text it to you?
If you could email it.
Or email.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I have it shared on the screen.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. But can you pull up 4606 since that's the property that we're talking about?
I have it. You want me to share it on the screen? Let me see if I can.
I think the
share it
clerk
on this.
has that pulled up.
Okay. You seeing it now?
Yeah, I think she's typing in 4606. If that doesn't work, Madam Clerk, you can just click on the parcel when the map is up. Where there's the little blue pinpoint there. If you
It's on the
click on that.
screen, Alderman. It's on the screen.
Oh, it did pull up. Sorry, it's taking a little bit for me to get it refreshed. Okay.
You'll find out, again, that's the problem with St. Louis Avenue. There's a few other streets that don't pull up correctly. You have to kind of back into them.
Great. Okay. It's showing owner City of St. Louis versus the LRA. You know, to your point, that's usually the comptroller. You know, I think I do still have some, you know, I guess concern around the dollar amount itself. I hear you, Alderwoman, in terms of the value and getting it off the tax roll. I 100% agree with you, but I also think that we need to be mindful of the kind of precedent that we set and that we should be consistent at least with how we're trying to sell LRA property too. But you know, I'm grateful for the clarification that you've provided.
Okay, so one thing you said, I want to correct. We're not getting it off the tax rolls. We're getting it on the tax rolls. We've not had it.
Thank you.
Right, we're putting it on the tax rolls. And since I've been around, I've seen many of these properties sell for $1. So I wasn't quite familiar with what you're saying about that. We had to have a different price because if I could squeeze $10 out of 5 cents, I would do that. That's who I am, okay? But I don't think it's right for us to do this for somebody who has taken care of our property. Then if we're going to charge her that kind of money, then we ought to pay her and her family for 30 or 40 years of service. And that's why I think that that's a fair amount. And by the way, I don't know Mrs. Wade or anything. I just met her because I was asked to carry this bill. So she's not a personal friend of mine or anything like that. I just think that it's admirable when people are looking out for our property because we don't do a good job of that, as you well know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You and I talk about it all the time. Yeah, I still, I hear you. I understand you. I just, I have some concerns or reservations about it, but, you know, I have to just kind of like think through that a little bit. But I do appreciate where you're coming from, and certainly, think that we should be working, towards getting this property to her, and since she's obviously been taking care of it for a long time. If she's my age and she's been doing it since, for 32 years, then she's been doing it since she was 12 years old. And that I started cleaning houses when I was 8. So I'm in no position to, say that she wasn't doing it when she was 12. So anyways, thank you for bringing it forward, Alderwoman, and, looking forward to, working with you on it.
Would you like me to provide you with some other, I can pull up other things that we sold if it would make you more comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not rare that, or not common that we have these quitclaim deeds from the comptroller's office, because most of the property that we own is either, in the, Municipal Finance Corporation or LRA. And I feel like when we have had these, sales and quitclaim deeds from the comptroller's office, that it's not usually a significant amount of money, but it's, more than $1. But if you have other examples of $1, I would, very much like to see that.
I would also like to point out to you, this is in the 4600 block of St. Louis Avenue. Take a drive, and then you will come.
I'm familiar with it.
Okay. What I'm saying is that you're talking about a fair market value of a lot that's not very wide. That, like I said, if it wasn't for she and her family, would be overgrown, weeds, trash, everything. That's not the case right there. So it would be very difficult to come up with some fair market value. And as I said, if we're going to do that, I'll be glad to set up a program like that. But I would also like to pay the people for all the years that they've taken care of our property. And in law, they have something called adverse possession. And this is very close to being an adverse possession to me, when you've taken care of a property for 30 years now. Not that they've paid the taxes, but just cutting the grass and keeping it neat when the city doesn't do that. And LRA certainly doesn't do that. So I don't have a problem with the dollar, but I understand your concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Thank you so much, Alderwoman Tyus, and I had a chance to talk about this bill, and I Ms. Wade for taking care of it for so long. No questions.
Alderman Browning.
Thank you, Alderwoman Tyus. I understand the situation and am in agreement that I think it would be great to get this on the tax rolls, and I appreciate Ms. Wade for taking care of it for so many years. My only question is, it is a vacant lot that is surrounded by a couple other vacant lots, and I'm just curious why just this lot that's kind of in the middle and not the ones on either side of it.
Oh, so she's in the process of buying those lots too, but they're LRA lots. This is not an LRA lot.
That's a great
She
answer.
has purchased some of them.
Okay, that makes sense. That satisfies my inquiry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Aldridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Thank you, Alderwoman, for being here. I do share some of the concerns of the alderman from the first. I'm a little bit more newer, and I think this session of HUDs, I think this is the third iteration of a $1 bill that we've seen. So we have seen them this session. I think the alderwoman from the 11th, the alderwoman from the 13th, and now you carrying another $1. So, it's come in front of us. I'm just curious, how does the process work out? And I think, as a new member, I'm just curious, because I know with the other pieces of legislation, when these came forward of a $1, I was like, is this a program? I know the Mo to Own was done. So if like a resident has been taking care of a lot for a while in their community, do they reach out to the comptroller's office to get this ball rolling to buy it for $1? Because it's, like I say, it's kind of the third time we've seen a $1 property bill.
Residents often do. Something happens. A lot of times what happens is somebody from the city has reached out to them for something. Actually, in this instance, I believe, and I have another one coming up, she actually got a bill for cutting the grass, and then it came up, well, I don't own this property, but she had cut the grass. It was some mistake that happened. And so then she started to try to, how could she get this property? So she started calling around to everybody to try to purchase this property. She called the state rep, she called me, she called the comptroller's office, and the comptroller's office reached out to me and said, hey, we got this. And my position is always going to be, if somebody is taking care of it this long, and we haven't had any problems, we haven't had to do anything, the city is in a win-win situation. I don't think there's a program, but I would support legislation, especially as if we're not doing anything to it and we're not going to take care of it right. And I have a concern that LRA lets property sit in your community and mine and others, and then they don't cut the grass properly. They don't tear down the buildings that they're supposed to. And so they put it on the people to say, well, that's too bad because it's an LRA property. And it happens with the city property. And I think that's the wrong way to treat people, especially people who actually are willing to go out and cut that grass and take the bushes down and do that. So there's no process. It probably should be. I haven't done these maybe once before in my 30-some years. There's not anything that you push, but if somebody comes to me and they want to do it, I want to help them. And if people want to get together, if we want to get together as a board and try to put a process together, I would want to help them. Because to me, you again, 20 years, 15 years, you're taking care of a property. It used to be that a city was saying, we're going to do development. But when are you going to do development? In the meantime, is it upon the people who live there to tolerate the city not taking care of their property when we are on the people about taking care of their property? So I don't believe that there's any special program. When I did talk to the comptroller's office, and I want to say, did I talk to a member of the city councilor's office? Maybe, but I know the comptroller's office, we didn't have any comps for that because it's a small little lot and there was no comps to even be had for that. The housing doesn't sell for much. So you know the lots don't sell for much. So no, we don't have a process. It's just if you're approached by it. And I said I would support it, and I do support it.
Yeah, and I definitely echo your comments. Like you say, as many of these vacant lots, I mean, I wish it was kind of that easy with the Paul McKee properties I have, but got to go through the whole eminent domain process. I mean, I would snatch everyone out of his hand in a hot second and put it back into the community. So I totally get it, and we definitely need to ensure that these LRA lots that are sitting in our community, it's an easier way to put in the people hands who's actually going to develop the homes or develop the vacant lots. I'll vote for this today, but yeah, during the interim session, with your wisdom and knowledge, we'd love to just chat with you to maybe figure out what a process like this looks like. Is it, what type of legislation could be done to ensure that residents know that this exists? Because like I say, this is probably not common. I know you only been here a few years, but it sounds like as your little time at the board, you only done this once. And I know, like I say, this HUD session, we've seen this come up now the third time, and it sounds like another one's coming. But just how do we make sure there's a process so people don't, try to say they love to always point fingers that we're doing something wrong when we actually just trying to help our community. So appreciate you and love to work with you on maybe crafting something in the near future.
Well, you won't know this, but so when John Collins, the former alderman from the 21st Ward, had a dollar program, he met with myself and he and then was the head of LRA with Lord Cohen, and we crafted the dollar program, which I didn't believe was going to work because I don't think it was crafted correctly, but that's the way they wanted it. But I do have ideas. I've been doing real estate since 1979. I went to law school because I wanted to know more about real estate. I worked at legal services. That's my thing, housing and real estate. And so there are ways we can do it. We can put it on our website. Hey, have you been maintaining a city property? We can get a list from the comptroller's office of what are the city properties. And then we could write up a law about that. They sell at this amount when you've been taking care of them for this amount of time. So I do have ideas about that. And I want to say LRA is not doing how it was supposed to do. Margaret Bush Wilson helped craft the original LRA legislation, and before she died, she came to me and she complained profusely about how it was being handled. It was not the way it was supposed to be handled, and it was also doing just what this is doing. It's supposed to help the people who were in the neighborhood get some of the property so that they could also develop their own property and or at least protect the property they lived in, instead of talking about something we're going to do 20 years down the line and 20 years come and we've never done anything. And I'm sorry that they stopped the motor because I think that was good and it encouraged people to keep some of the LRA property up. And I actually have a resolution I'll send you that I already addressed some of the issues that you're talking about because it is near and dear to my heart.
Yes, ma'am. Please send that. And like I say, looking forward to collaborating with you on something. I'll let you take lead and I'll follow and support. But definitely love to work with you on something where there's a process in place. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Tyus. I don't have any other questions. Personally, I think all my colleagues have asked my questions. Were there any other final questions? If not, I'm happy to accept a motion for a due pass recommendation for Board Bill 138.
I move that we pass Board Bill 1, the due pass recommendation.
Second.
Previous roll.
Any objections to previous roll? Thank you. Madam Clerk, there was a motion by Alderwoman Schweitzer, a second by Alderman call for roll with no objection. And with that, Board Bill 138 has passed. Congratulations, Alderwoman.
Thank you, Clerk, Madam Vice Chair and members of the committee. And I will pull up a list. I'll ask the comptroller to give me some lists of some of the properties so it will make the aldermen from the third now, I guess, or feel more comfortable about us selling property for $1. Because like I said before, if we're just keeping it all on the roll for the city, we're not selling it. We're not getting any tax dollars for it. So I'll look for some information to get to him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And was there any public comment, Madam Clerk?
We have none.
Thank you. And with that, we'll proceed. Are there any resolutions for review?
We have none.
Any committee discussions?
We have none.
Acknowledgement of any written testimony?
We have none.
Any announcements? Okay, I would like to move that we excuse Alderwoman Shameen Clark Hubbard for necessary absence. And with that, I'm happy to take a motion for adjournment.
Move to adjourn. Previous roll.
Objections? Any objections? Excellent. Meeting adjourned.